Right, well I'm out for a bit of zigging today. It's February and now onwards is the time to get on the zigs. I came here yesterday for a little tester and I had 5 fish, sort of 3 20s and a couple of doubles. So I had a really good day and today I'm basically going to do hopefully what I did yesterday, catch a few and basically run you through exactly how I'm catching them. We've got a few new products to show you. We've got the new Zig line, we've also got the Zig Magnet, which is a really cool little product. So not only am I going to show you sort of how I use the zigs, I'm going to show you those 2 new products as well. The rods have probably been out about half an hour. I was just thinking about a recast, so I like to recast every sort of half hour, 40 minutes when I'm zigging, and the right hand rod is away. So I have a fish on, just fell in the lake.
Oh mate.
He took me down the margin near a snag, tried to go and rescue him. Got a boot full, but thankfully the fish isn't in the snag and he's now just down in front. Right, well the fish is in the net. Basically when I cast the 2 rods out, I put one longer than the other. It's the short rod that's gone, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick my other rod up, reel it back 20-30 yards so it's level with what the other rod was, which I had to bite on, and hopefully if the fish is sat at that range while I sort this one out, there's a good chance of getting one on the other rod. Because when you are zigging, if you're putting hook baits amongst them, especially in a lake like this where there's quite a few fish there, the bites can come quite quickly, you know, and you'll find you'll pick a few off, then it might die. If you change to a new area, you can start again. So I'm going to drop this rod, pick this one up and then just give it probably 20-30 yards back, fill it down and then straight in the rest and we're back in the game. Right, well, we've got another one. It's been 25 minutes since I reeled the long rod in shorter and recast the right hand rod. The fish is still in the net, and like I say, the rod's away. So all my bites of the last couple of days are coming on the pink. Now, colour's always really important, but in murky water like this, I think it's even more important. And I don't really use zigs in murky water that often. I don't fish many lakes that are murky, to be fair. But talking to people like Billy and Jamie that do a lot of zigging on these types of venues, they've said to me in the past that pink's a good colour. So I started yesterday with pink and yellow, a bit of yellow foam and a pink fruity pop-up on this rod. And it was the pink that did the business, and it's the same today. So definitely worth pointing out. If you're going to be zigging on a murky lake, I'd certainly give the pink a go. Try a few other colours, but from what I've seen so far, pink is much easier for them to spot, and that's really important when you're zigging, you know. Doesn't look a bad fish. Oh, certainly a bit bigger than the other one. Oh, February big un. Hey, look at that. Right, well I tell you what, I've done a lot of fishing this winter, caught quite a few fish, but this is definitely the coldest one I've held so far. There's frost everywhere, my hands are absolutely freezing. What a cool little commoner. I reckon he's probably 13, 14 pounds, and yeah, the first one of the 2. The other one's quite a lot bigger as well, I think, so we'll slip this little dude back and we'll get the big one out, shall we? Well, here he is, number 2. I reckon he's got to be 24 pound this one, which is a right result on what is a very, very cold February morning. Desperate to get the rod back out, and when I do so, I'm going to run you through the Zig magnet. It's a great little piece of kit, and if you're a keen Zig angler like I am, it will certainly change your life. So I'm going to get this fish back, and then when I do the rod, I'll show you how to use the Zig magnet. Right, well the rod's rigged up and ready to go, and I said I was going to show you how to use the Zig magnet, so here goes. Basically, stick your storm pole in the ground, very simple. Screw your Zig magnet into the top of that, again very simple, and then take your hook bait and simply plunk it on top. And because of the magnet inside, it will grab hold of the hook. Now a lot of people have been asking, is the magnet strong enough for you to be able to wrap a piece of PVA foam nugget around the hook and it still grab a hold? And the answer to that question is yes. So if you want to use it with a foam nugget, you can. It will still grab a hold. Now, some of you might be wondering, what is the purpose of this product? Now, I've always found that Zigs are much more effective on a deeper lake, anything from say 10 foot onwards. And if the lake is deep, there's a much greater chance of the fish being up off the bottom and well away from the hook bait. Particularly this time of year, February, March, April, and even right into the summer, the fish crave that sun. And as the water warms up, they're up in the layers, they're cruising around, waking up, warming themselves. And when they're doing that, in my opinion, it's very hard to beat a Zig rig. You know, if they're up off the deck, a Zig is the only way of catching them. Now, for example, on here today, it's 12 foot deep in front of me. Now, this morning, I was using 5 or 6 foot Zigs. And a product like this then, although it's, you can still use it, it's not as necessary. If I start to use, say, a 10 or 11 foot Zig as the day goes on, it's getting sunnier, and I'm pretty sure I've just seen a fish sort of break the surface, this is when it really comes into its own. And if the lake's even deeper than that, say 20 foot deep, and you want to use a 16 foot Zig, you're going to have, without using this, you're going to have line trailing all over the floor. And that means 2 things. Your hook point could get damaged, but more importantly, the line. That's what's going to come into contact with the most sort of dangerous bits and pieces on the ground. There's twigs and roots everywhere. Your line can become damaged. And when you're using light lines, this is like 10, 11 pound line, but some people, you can use even lighter than that. If it gets a little nick in it, as soon as you get a bite, it's going to snap. So what the Zig magnet enables you to do is keep your hook point safe and out of the way, but also have your line trailing off the rod tip all the way back to the Zig magnet. So the only thing the line's going to come into contact with air, and then on impact with the water, it will come into contact with water as well, which means your line is going to be strong as it was when it went out there. No nicks, no damage, anything like that. And when you hook a fish, you'll land it providing your hook holds good enough. So great little product, particularly on a deeper lake. With that said, I'm going to get the rod out. Right, rod's out there. Now, you'll notice I'm using a monofilament main line. I use braid a lot of the time for sort of my bottom bait fish and that. Basically, if I'm allowed to use braid, that is what I use. But when I'm zigging, I always use a mono. And this is the new carp line. Really tough. It's a really nice line, to be fair. And any GR60 fans out there will absolutely love this because it's very, very similar. And I'm just tightening right into the lead. I've got a big 4 ounce lead on, and I'm keeping the line really tight, and then once it's in the rest, just clicking more and more on to the point where I'm taking as much stretch out the line as possible. I want to be bolted up against that lead, and just as you sort of think the lead might start to move, it's like a guitar string, that's when you clip the bobbin on. Get the bobbin on, and that basically improves the bite indication. You get some real funny bites on the Zigs, and I've always found if it's a really tight line, your indication's better. A lot of them are often dropbacks, both of them today have been. There we go, done. Right, well I've waited about probably 45 minutes since I last recast. Haven't had a bite for a couple of hours, and it's getting warmer and it's getting sunnier. So I'm going to try a longer Zig. So higher off the bottom, I'm going to go up to 8 foot. Like I say, it's probably 10, it's got to be at least 10 foot out there, I'd say, so be a couple of foot off the surface. And that's really important when you're zigging. You know, depth is absolutely crucial. Things like colour and that are important as well, but the depth, you know, you really need to, you want it in their face. So I'm going to try a little bit higher, because I can imagine they've risen in the water as it's got brighter. So try a longer zig, 8 foot, and that's perfect for the zig magnet really. You know, 8 foot and beyond is when it will really come into its own. So 8 foot zig, very simple zig, you know, they're not hard to tie. All I've got here is the new zig line. It's just an 11 pound, and that's knotless knotted onto a sharpened size 8 mixer. I've got a little hair there with the pop-up on, and I've got a bit of silicone over the eye of the hook, and that just enables the gape to stay nice and wide. If you don't put that bit of silicone on, because it's monofilament coming out of it, it'll close the gape up slightly. So rig's ready to go, and that's simply attached to a lead clip. Again, very simple, and there's an anti-tangle sleeve on there. And the lead clip, you notice I haven't got a tail rubber. I'm wrapping PVA tape around that. And what that means is when it goes into the water, I'll tighten the line right up, and that will melt. When I get the bite, the lead pops straight off. It didn't happen every time this morning, so the bite's very quickly and the water's cold, but basically the less tape you wrap around, the quicker it's going to disappear, and obviously the warmer the water is as well, the quicker that's going to go too. So that's the theory. Just need to get it out there now and explore a different depth. Me and the cameraman were chatting whether we thought the sort of chance of another bite had gone. I was a bit worried, the sun being so bright was actually going to make them a little bit harder to catch, and I was going to have to start searching new depths and all that sort of stuff. But the rod at the same depth I had all my bites on, the shorter zig of the two, is away. I've got one on. Really good if you go away from that snag. The cameraman's just rescued me, he's grabbed my net for me. Fish would not go back around the right hand side of this snag. I've just seen it and it looks like an absolutely beautiful linear. It's dodgy under here, I've got trees all over my head, lead's still on. But we're praying to God, get this one in the net. Come on. It's in, yes! Ugh. Got him. Oh, that was scary. Look, branches everywhere. Oh, what a hurler. Well, here's my little linear. Run me ragged this one, I reckon he's about 13 or 14 pounds, but a lovely way to finish the day. It's always nice to catch a mirror. Loads of commons around here, so these little scaly ones are more than welcome. But yeah, I've had a really good time. I've showed you loads of different things to do with the zigging, how I do it, and we've caught a few along the way. So hopefully you can put some of this into your own fishing, catch a few and all.